Hello all and welcome. And I am the Realist Philosopher and this is the Realist Den, where it's 100% real, 100% raw, 100% of the time. So how y'all doing? I hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. I'm doing okay. A little disturbed by the continuing trend of normalizing wacky, crazy shit in Western society is somehow okay and normal. And this story falls into that category of wacky, crazy stuff. So British universities replaced the word woman with where's the vowel? So Womxyn, to be inclusive. But how would you pronounce that? Does anybody out there think that half the reason that these people are embracing all this weird type of stuff is this rebellious nature that children have and some kind of arrested development, and they never seem to mature out of their adolescence, and they want to be rebellious and they want to be different from everybody else. They want to show how interesting and how they want to show how unique they are, how different they are from everyone else. Yes, I'm not going to call myself a woman anymore, or a wayman like those evil bastards on the right refer to us. I'm going to call myself Womxyn. I wonder if they understand what a joke they're making of themselves. So, yeah, they replaced the word woman with Womxyn. You want to call yourself that, that's fine. I don't care what you call yourself, to be honest. Just don't tell me I have to say that, okay? Which, of course, you know is the next thing that they're going to be trying to do, right? So 2 universities in London have stopped using the word woman. Oh, boy, yeah. Initially. It'll be more, I'm sure, because it's not inclusive enough. How would another word be inclusive? Do you mean you have to create a new word that doesn't have any gender or sex association, and thereby it can be more inclusive because you'll redefine that word, or you'll define that word because it didn't exist, right? Because there's no such word as Womxyn, and you're going to give it a definition, all right? And that definition is going to be inclusive and include everybody except men, right? Now, just men who say, well, men who think they're women are welcome to call themselves Womxyn, but I suppose men are still going to be men, right? Okay. It's very interesting, very interesting. Everything associated with femininity is fluid and open to interpretation, and you're able to fiddle around with it and mess around with it and manipulate it. But anything associated with masculinity or men, oh no! We know what that is! It's toxic masculinity, and men are evil and men are bad, and everything associated with men is bad. Oh, yeah. Yes, don't you dare try and pigeonhole me, you evil men and white men and you horrible systems of racism and bias and oppression of women. However, it's perfectly okay for me to pigeonhole you and to stereotype you as toxically masculine and say all men are this, all men are that, men are evil, masculinity is toxic. Sure, as a wayman, Womxyn, it's perfectly acceptable for me to be as amorphous as mist or water. I can change shape at will and be whatever I view myself to be. But you, no, you're evil, you're an oppressor, you're a patriarchal male, and you're toxic. It's very interesting how that's completely one-sided, even though we're all supposed to be equal. Oh, boy. So, despite some acceptance of these linguistic changes, some of those on the left are unimpressed by this last brand of virtue signaling. Jess Phillips, the Labour MP for Birmingham Yardley, trashed the new language policy in a tweet. So some of this crazy stuff is just making the left look a little too nutty. I mean, they're all nuts, right? But, you know, there's differing degrees of nuttiness insofar as what they present to the public. Like I said, they're all crazy. They're all believers in solipsism. They all believe that reality is what we make it, what we think it is, not what it actually is in objective terms. Still, some of them realize that if they get too extreme in regards to some of the things they push, that there'll be a backlash, right? That people are going to start to really see just how nutty they are, right? Sort of like feminism with their man hate and preaching to women not to get married, not to have kids, men are evil. wage gap. Don't enter into marriage with a man, you're his slave, and all that stuff. Be unhappy like me with 27 cats and 15 dogs, and my house smells of cat piss and dog shit, but you should embrace that, right? Instead of being happy. Of course, women who embrace these kinds of ideas, these concepts, are never happy, whether or not they get married or not. They're always going to be discontent, which is kind of what these women want, right? So the whole misery loves company thing. But, they're all leftists, and, these wanky broads on the left who embrace feminism to its logical conclusion and are very vocal about that logical conclusion. Well, many of the other feminists, the ones that try to appear more moderate, wolves in sheep's clothing, are telling them, shut up. You're ruining what's a good deal for us. You're showing people our true colors. People like these nuts who want to change their identification from woman to Womxyn are doing the same thing for the left. And this broad's like, no, you're causing problems. Be quiet. We don't have enough power yet for you to be acting this nutty. So the tweet says, I've never met a trans woman who was offended by the word woman being used, so I'm not sure why this keeps happening. As if internet dissent now replaces public policy. I get what they are trying to do, but why is it only women, not men, where this applies? And somebody named Woman Collection replied, we've had some questions about why we're using the word Womxyn. It's not a word, okay? It's not a word. I know that you want to reshape reality, right? And create new little wolf whistles, okay? But it's not a word. For this event, we're using it because we feel that it's important to create a space venue that includes diverse perspectives. How does using fake words promote diversity? Oh, because you're removing the stereotypical and outdated view that is associated with the word woman, which is so limiting, right? I see. Interesting. Earlier this year, a museum in London received complaints after it began using Womxyn instead of woman on their promotional material. Yeah, it turns out you haven't quite socially re-engineered society enough. All right? You haven't, like I said before, you have not gotten to the point where you can get away with this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, see, you're getting cold on your craziness, right? Some people are jumping the gun here and showing just how nutty these leftists are to the rest of us. Ooh, can't have that. I mean, I've known that they're nutty for quite some time, but other people, not quite as woke as you idiots on the left like to say. Woke! Yeah, you're not really woke, okay? You're sound asleep. You think you're woke, but you're not. Welcome collection statement. Daylighting is a 4-day event taking place at Welcome Collection. And they misspelled welcome, right? 2 L's. 18 to 21st. Oh, we didn't misspell it. We changed this spelling on purpose. Why? So you pronounce the L with a longer L sign instead of welcome. It's like welcome. What's the point? We agreed with our collaborators that we would use the word Womxyn in the context of this event with the intention of being inclusive. Well, this is not a term which Welcome Collection or Welcome uses in other contexts. Why use it at all then? Why don't you use the common nomenclature, huh? Well, why don't you just use the language we all know and speak? We should have put more thought into whether this was the right term to use. They're testing the waters, see, with this kind of stuff. They're testing the waters to see if they can get away with it, right? But this is going too far, okay? We made a mistake and we should not have used it. We're sorry that we made the wrong call. More people than not complained, right? So they decided, majority don't like. Let's hold this war for 5 years or so. It's too radical. We haven't indoctrinated enough pinheads yet. We invite challenges to our thinking and we listen to our audience, so we're removing the word from the website and from our communications about the event. They're removing it for now, right? Yeah. So they eventually apologized and removed its usage from their website. But, you see, that's not the point. As we look at this very broad-jawed, big-faced, broad-shouldered Womxyn, trans woman, trans man, man, woman, he, she. I don't know what this is supposed to be honest. Is this a man? Is it a woman? I don't know. You call it what you want. It's a guy. It's a dude in drag. I mean, maybe call me old-fashioned, maybe say I'm old, but when I see these people, I think, man in drag. Now, I realize that some of them are passable, right? Not many, but some, right? They commit. They do all the surgery, get the Adam's apple shaved down, and get plastic surgery, and get boob jobs and butt jobs and lipo and, estrogen shots out the wazoo, and they do everything they can to lose muscle mass and get their body to look like a woman's. Okay. All right, you I might call a woman. Womxyn, whatever. But honestly, it's my choice, okay? My choice. You see, the reason they're changing these words and changing all of these so-called labels is because there's whole ideologies attached to these words, whole entire belief systems that they also want you to adopt. And what you don't understand is if you accept and adopt these words in your everyday nomenclature, if you adopt them into everyday use, if you accept them, you're accepting their ideology. You're adopting their ideology. You're accepting and acclimating to their group think. And you're essentially giving tacit approval to all their beliefs and their ideology. You just don't realize it. You see, this is how they kill you, all right? It's the death by 1,000 cuts, okay? They're not going to just start sticking a shiv in you. You're going to feel that, right? And you might fight back and defend yourself. Oh, no. One little cut at a time that you don't even notice, right? One little bug bite, one little cut. Maybe you could call it the death of 10,000 cuts. But eventually you'll die, right? Eventually they'll kill you. In this case, transform you, hopefully. And if they don't, then they'll kill you. These kind of ideologies, these kind of movements always eventually end up with mountains of bodies. Well, I shouldn't say mountains of bodies, at least in terms of above ground. It amounts to whole killing fields, right? Not mountains, just whole fields of the dead, buried to be used later as fertilizer. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. Womxyn. Let me tell you, we have not hit rock bottom, not even close. This shit is going to just continue to get worse and worse and worse. Promote intersectionality. Oh boy. So disturbing. I remember when I was younger, men were men, women were women, right? And people who dressed up as broads and they weren't broads, they would do that in the privacy of their own home, right? It was a weird kink, okay? It wasn't something that they would go out in public and walk around dressed up in high heels. Herbert Hoover, I mean, that would have made the ugliest broad in the world. Have you ever seen Herbert Hoover? That was one ugly dude, right? And he would make one ugly broad. And he didn't inflict himself on the rest of us, right? He walked around in high heels and fishnets and dressed up as a lady and put on his little wig and all and served himself tea and crumpets in his FBI office and shit. He didn't subject other people to his perversions, right? To his mental illness. Now they're trying to push this mental illness on everybody. You got to resist. You got to resist, people, because if you don't resist, then you're accepting it, right? There is no middle ground here in this war, and it is a war, okay? It's not just a culture war, it's an actual war. This type of war was fought in Germany, and the Nazis won. These people are the modern-day Nazis, and in line with typical critical theory, they brand you what they actually are. Be wary with this stuff. Don't just sit back and be apathetic and say, meh, I got better things to worry about. No, you don't. You really don't. Yeah, you get your job. Oh, I'm tired from a job. I want to sit back and relax. You've got to take a stand. If you don't, 10, 15 years, you won't have a job, you won't have a country, you won't have a house, you won't have anything. These people want to destroy everything that makes your way of life possible. Everything that allows you to sit back and relax and enjoy your life and have your job and have your little tchotchkes on the fucking shelves all around you and your PlayStation or whatever you play and your computer. Everything you've got, your nice muscle car outside, all that stuff is made possible by the society that you live in, which is the most developed in the world if you live in the West. The best culture in the world, the best economies, and these people want to destroy it. You want to protect what you have? Get up off your ass, stop not caring, and wake up. These people want you to die. They hate you. Anyhow, on that note, I will bid you adieu. Please check out the description. You'll find some links, one of them being to my podcast, the other being to my monthly Patreon donation platform. I hope you'll choose to support me there. And I hope you'll choose to sign up for my podcast as well, because it's a hell of a lot of fun. And in it, I say the things that I can't say on this YouTube channel. And if you think I've been as raw and real as humanly possible, not even close. So you might want to check that out. And check out my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Anyhow, I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.